Hey there, this is Frank Klesitz. Welcome. You're going to have a powerful interview today with Bob Sokoler out in Louisville. Bob, how long have you been selling real estate?
Since 94, so we're about almost 16 years here.
And Bob is driving us from landing a very important listing contract and has a self-driving Tesla. So he will be very safe on the road. Is that correct, Bob?
That is correct. In fact, if you want, I just put it into auto drive.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
No, I'm serious. I just did. And I'm driving.
So this is a commercial for Tesla that you can get your interviews done. So
that's right. Yeah.
That's good, Bob. So anyways, Bob and I go back a long way, and you're going to learn today. Let's share with the audience here how to ease the pain of prospecting by publishing helpful videos to your database and leads and prospects and online. So if you're making calls and you're constantly having to prove yourself and who you are over and over and over again, if we can get some marketing to those people first so they see you in all your greatness with your in video and great marketing and a good professional light, when you call, hopefully when they've consumed some of that marketing, in this case, maybe helpful videos, they treat you with a little more respect and they listen to you and they answer the call, and you've outpositioned yourself from maybe all the other people who don't do any marketing, or the only weapon they have for attention is the phone. You have some more weapons for attention. Do you like that, Bob?
I agree with you completely.
That's the idea. So Bob has been selling real estate since '94. He's seen every fad come and go. Probably spent money on hundreds of things and what has worked and what hasn't worked, and has probably learned, Bob, of certain principles and certain things that stand true over time. Let alone Bob and I go back to many masterminds and see what's on. So you are in the presence of someone that knows what they're doing when it comes to selling real estate. You've sold what, 300 homes last year, Bob?
350 last year, 417 the year before.
350 homes last year. Average selling price is about 212.
Right.
GCI 1.8 mil last year. Year to date about 298, probably 299 after they've written contracts. 7,500 people in his database of all the people that have opted over the years. So let's get down to it. And by the way, let me just start this out. If you are interested in getting a copy of the video marketing plan that Bob does follow, you can go to our homepage of Viral Marketing, getviral.com, download the official video marketing plan. And if you want to have a chat with us and talk to us about what it might look like to work together, you can go ahead and request a free strategy session on our website. So that's that. So Bob, take me back when it was you and maybe a team, and the only weapon you had to do deals was the phone, because you can never give up prospecting. Prospecting and phone work is the foundation of everything. It's never going to go away. I was very specific in the title today that we want to ease the pain. Got it? So maybe take me back to when you're making phone calls. What are some of the habits someone needs to set up with regards to a prospecting foundation before they even consider thinking about adding video to their business?
So let me just point out, Frank, that everything Frank said about what it works and what we do, he is dead on. And I so much believe in Frank and what he does. So just understand that this is not some pie in the sky thing. I like this guy a lot. I think he's the real McCoy. So just take that from me. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that every single sale, every single friend, every single business partner, anybody you've ever met is put into a database. It doesn't have to be extensive. It doesn't have to be a top producer, because let's say that's all bloatware and expensive to many agents just starting out. It could be as simple as using your contact manager in Outlook, or using a simple CRM if you're using or buying a Boomtown, a Commission Zinc, a Ylopo, any of the systems for doing pay-per-click or social media integration for bringing in leads. All that needs to go into, just even if it's using Follow-Up Boss, all that goes into a system that you can input and then also export it out down the road if you ever want to change.
Now, hold on, let's stop there.
Yeah, okay.
People don't do that. That takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And can we go a little deeper on what you just said there?
Sure.
I want you to imagine you had to get maybe an agent in your office to do that.
Right.
How would you get them to do it?
So I'll go one step further. I'll give you an example. So I'm married to Sandy, who was with one mortgage company and is moving this week as we're talking to another mortgage company. She has a wide variety of contacts, but they're all in her phone, and we want to now export them into a database for the new company. So the one thing she's done is she takes everybody's name, she inputs the name and phone number, and puts it into her phone. There are also a lot of pieces of paper that have just printout of that information. So take it from me with what she's going to do, and I'm going to help her, is we're going to hire somebody in the
There you go.
Philippines. Right. So it could be my outdesk.
Because you already
desk.
know that
Yeah.
you as a producer, Rainmaker, has the attention span of a gnat to be able to do that.
Right. And no one's going to take that time. And if you pay somebody locally, it's going to be very expensive. You'll pay them, what do you think? The 10, 12 bucks an hour?
Yeah. Depends if you're in Louisville, if you're in San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are companies, Frank can put you in contact with anybody. And what they'll do is you basically just print it out and then send it, if you can't create a CSV file, print it out, send it to them, fax it over, email it to them, and they'll start doing the work for you at a rate of, what are we thinking, Frank? $5, $6 bucks an hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
$5.
Yeah. So this is the way to do it. You can also at the same time use that person or somebody else to start being your admin to take away the heavy lifting of the stuff you don't like to do, which is inputting names information or working on certain parts of the business that you should not do, that you should in fact be giving to somebody to do so you can do what's best, which is, of course, going out listing or working with buyers to make money, income producing dollars. Can I give a plug?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Yeah.
I'm a coach with Verl Workman. And you could use anybody you want, but I love Verl because of his authenticity. And the one thing you need to do is be accountable. And many of us are not accountable to ourselves. And that's why, whether it's a coach like Verl, or if you go ahead and find an accountability partner, and it could be Frank, or it could be somebody in your office who will hold you accountable for making sure that you do what you say you're going to do, because it's so easy just to say, I'm my own boss, I'm not going to do it. And I will tell you, with creating videos, even for me, we do it with videos every 2 weeks, and we have my accountability person, Kat. If I don't have a video in the queue ready to go, she will call me. So that's my accountability partner, and I love her for it because she keeps me making sure I'm on schedule. So back to what we're talking about with Frank, it's so important for all of us to create the lists for two reasons. One, none of us are going to be able to remember the person we worked with a year ago details. So that's why you want some background information. And two, and this is probably just as equally as important, if you build a good book of business and someday you want to get out of the business, you will want to try to sell that business, what you've done, to somebody else. And if you don't have the stuff that is easily accessible, electronically available, it is very easy that the business is not going to sell. Can I go one step further, Frank?
Good.
So a couple of years ago, dear friends who were in the business many years were getting out of the business, and they called me because they knew what I've done. They said, Bob, we'd like to sell you our book of business. I said, that's great. I'd love to talk to you. So how many people and where can we see it when we get together? I said, well, there's probably 2,000 people, and they're all in shoeboxes. I said, they're all in shoeboxes. I said, so when was the last time you talked to them? Oh, when they closed. When was the last time you had been in email contact with them? They said, when they closed. I said, but this means that it's not worth anything to me. She said, well, you can have somebody input the information. I said, yeah, but if you haven't kept in contact with the client, they've gone on to somebody else. They don't know you even exist anymore because no one remembers their agent.
They were secret agents.
Yeah. So my point is, and this is where we're going, and you can see how I structured this, Frank. It was really well done on my part, I have to admit.
It is good. Good job.
It is good. It is. So what we do, once you've got, I'm at my office, I'm going to be going upstairs now. Once you've got that database, once you input it, now you want to drip on it with emails. Now it could be just a regular email, but everybody that we know does regular emails, right? So what we do is we do video emails. And how successful is it? By the way, I just want to show you, I'm legit about this. Here is the listing I just came from. And Frank mentioned my Tesla. This is my Tesla that I love. And just for a point of interest for you, Frank, and for everybody else. So it's all gray with gray wheels. And then I wanted red calipers. So I had these external, you can have these made up. And I'm going to show you something, and hopefully you can see. So can you see the red calipers?
They're great.
Now, on the red calipers, there's lettering.
Does it say the name of your company so you can write it off?
It says we sell Louisville, yes. And what's even more spectacular is when you're driving, because the wheels are spinning, you can actually see that we sell Louisville through the wheels.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's very cool. So, all right. So that's just letting you know.
That's kind of cool, actually, Bob.
Who'd figure that I'd actually have something that cool? So moving forward, so we drip these videos every 2 weeks. And listen, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have had any experience. All you need to do, you know what, is do them. Sandy and I went on a trip to, this is the longest I've ever been gone, Frank, from my business. 22 days, 21 days. We went to Paris, London, then a cruise for 20.
You're breaking up, Bob.
11 days on the cruise.
Hey, Bob, can we get you on Wi-Fi?
And I videotaped and took pictures everywhere I went. I'm going, yeah. Switch over to some.
Yeah, switch over to a Wi-Fi.
It'll jump on my Wi-Fi here in a second.
So you do that. You do that. Let me jump in while you do that. So guys, look. So Bob, what Bob's sharing here, the question I asked him was, you have to start prospecting, and what Bob said is you need to compile your house list of the people that you know, maybe the people in your Gmail and your Outlook and your CRM if you're a current agent, all of those contacts, get them all in one spot and work those people before you go out to strangers. And you have to start calling them and start talking to them and communicate with them. But that's hard to do if you don't have the list centralized and maybe a system. And a lot of times we go out and we just maybe go work a cold list because you can buy it and use a dialer software because you don't want to go through the emotional work or spend the money on a list builder or an assistant to help get the list from out of the shoebox of 2,000 names or whatever it may be, and manually in a spreadsheet typing in first name and last name and address and phone and email. But if you can go through that work and get that list together, not only do you have a list to call, but also that same list you can start communicating with, instead of one-to-one, one-to-many, which is through the video that Bob was talking about. And you had such a great story there, Bob, about the value being in the list and the relationship of the list. That a box full, a shoebox doesn't have any value to you. That was powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, that's exactly right. And hand to God on this. This is what happened. We never bought the business from them. I don't know what happened. I haven't lost touch with them. I guess they were pissed off that I didn't want to buy the business, but it wasn't worth anything if you don't do the contacts, you don't do a touch. It drives home the point of what we're saying, that there has to be a touch, but not just a regular touch because everybody else is doing it. Boy, this is really it's freaking me out, this angle, because I hate looking down to a camera. I always want to look up to a camera. So here's my office. I'm in here now.
Bob, so yeah, quite the setup there.
I do have a little, and then Frank would tell you, I do audio, so I have my own microphone set up, much like Frank does, but
yeah,
it's a little bigger.
No, it's good, man.
Yeah,
so let's talk about this. So you start making these calls, but this is a hard question for you because you've been on video your whole life. I mean, Bob actually, before he was selling real estate, was a news anchor, actually on television. So I think video and one-to-many broadcasting was very easy for you. But look, let's talk about the agents on your team. Wouldn't you love it if they got their list together and they started producing content out? But they probably don't. Why is that? Because it comes natural to you.
Yeah, it does. Some of them do. I'm not sure. I'm going to walk back. Let me know if you shouldn't lose me. I'm going to walk back. I own my condos here, and I want to see if any of our agents are here. Oh, here's one. This one right here. This is Karen.
Hi, Karen.
So this is one of my admin people, Lisa. So Karen does videos, and she does Instagram, and she knocks it out of the ballpark. So that's one. I'm looking to see if any of my other agents are in. Oh, here's Jake. Jake, you
Hi,
do
Jake.
video?
Yes.
He does video. And then Heather over there. Hi, Heather. You're on a national webinar. You just don't know it at this point. She does it. Now, Cynthia is our ISA who is transitioning into as an agent. You do video, right?
Yep.
So, and then we have our newest employee, Sarah, who's taken over for Cynthia, and you will do video. You just don't know it yet. She's just learning. Yeah. And so we have, just so you can see, our cameras. Can you see that up here? The video cameras set up on our on computer. Okay.
I can.
Good. Thank you, ladies. Sorry to interrupt. So and those are the people who are here. We have other offices. No one's in there, so I figured I wouldn't. So does that help? Yes, you're right. But that's the first look. It's never going to be jump in with yourself into a pool. It's going to be you start with your toe, and you try to get people who are successful raving about the quality and the results of video, and then that will help excite others about video. The good thing about people who are watching this right now is it's like you're listening to us tell you this works. Now stick your toe in and try it and see what happens, because that will tell you very quickly how great having video will do for your business. Can I show you some, yesterday, 2 days ago, we sent out my latest video, which was about the trip I was mentioning to Europe with Sandy. And the response I got back was crazy. So this, I'm just going to show you. So this started a conversation. And again, Frank, I'm showing you, this is kind of weird. I'm showing you my screen. So this one was from Brenda. So it started out with her seeing my video, and then we started talking about, she went to Paris. She told me about her trip to Barcelona. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. In Barcelona. And so we started this communication. Now, she's not ready to sell right now, but she will be ready to sell in a couple of years. And guess what? We got this established relationship already, so that she knows she loves watching us travel. We do stories on, or video stories on new restaurants. We've done those. We do updates on the market. So it's all about, and then what's beautiful about Frank and his group is they will send you out a list of the types of videos with the content that will help the clients, your clients, keep in contact with you, but also useful information. And here's what I'm working on right now, Frank, for my next one, just so you know, and I'll share this with everybody who might be listening. So we're here getting into winter. So what is it that you can do to winterize your home or even your apartment to help you save money and or protect it? So you can go online and do a search for, how do I winterize my house, or what do I use for it? Just do any Google search for that. Take that printed out. And what I'll do, because I did this once before a couple of years ago, is I'll call Lowe's, or I'll go over there. You can go to Home Depot, but I found Lowe's has been pretty open to this. Plus it's right around the corner from us. And talk to the manager and say, look, I have a small camera, and hang on one second. I use GoPros, a variety of one. I just bought from my Europe trip, a Sony RX100, and Frank will tell you, when it comes to technology, I just go crazy over it. So I bought this camera, and this goes on a tripod, and it's so small, but the beautiful part about it is, here, I'm doing this one-handed here, so hang with me, that it also has a flip-up lens, or flip-up viewfinder in the back, so I can see if I'm shooting myself on camera. Now, you don't have to go to this extent. If you have an iPhone or a Droid, they now have the best cameras for no extra money. It's built in. And then all you need to do is you shoot these in little segments. And Frank, right, you can just upload them to your people. You edit them and stitch them together, and then put them together with content on the blog, which allows for Google integration, gets you spiders will get the keywords, and then it integrates with Google, and you get
Yeah.
recognized. I know I'm jumping ahead.
Before you go
Yeah.
down all this cool video stuff, which your office is amazing, and I think it would be impossible for someone to work for you and not do video because you definitely create the culture. There's no question about it.
Yeah,
I bet people love being ambushed by Bob when they walk through the office on webinars.
Yeah. They didn't know what I was doing. So,
but you said something. You said something. I want to catch on, just because I know you're very advanced. Like there's things that you say that are very brilliant, but you just take them at face value because you've been doing it for so long. But you said you had a conversation for someone that's not going to sell their home for years, and you saw value in that. Most people are looking for someone that wants to sell their home now, and they're only focusing on the now. So I know that's a simple concept, but could you please take me back to maybe a point in your business where you had that mindset where it's just like, I just got to find someone now, but then something shifted where you're like, maybe I need to also build like a, kind of a nurture database. Can you tell me the story about that transition and why that was, whatever stage that aha came to you? Because it probably wasn't right when you started.
No, you are so on point and on target with this, Frank. And the people who are watching right now, when I share this with you, you've got to thank Frank for just pointing this out. I'm more than happy to help anybody who needs the assistance, but listen carefully. 3-4 years into my business as a realtor, we were getting internet leads. I would take people out, and I'd sometimes write contracts, sometimes I wouldn't. But then that was all I did if I didn't write contracts. And it occurred to me, I'd start thinking a couple of months down the road, I said, well, I wonder what ever happened to, and I didn't have any record of who it was, what I did, what homes we saw. To tell you that I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars is an understatement. I would tell you I lost a lot of money because I didn't have a plan or a process that allowed me to keep track of everybody who I was with. So many of us, and if you're just getting in the business, or even if you've been in the business for a while, may have the same problem. We deal with so many people, we're looking for the now. And once either they buy, that's great, or if they don't, we are so much concentrating on the now, the new lead that's coming in, the new lead. We forget about the past leads, the people who we've already worked with, who maybe want to get out and buy a home, but maybe they lost your number, they don't care enough to reach out to you, and you haven't kept in contact with them. So again, I'm going to go back to my computer and show you that what I put into place was actually free of charge, but has helped me with my business multiply it multiple times over. So we go back to my calendar on my Outlook. This is today. So this, you'll notice from here. Can you see this, Frank? Because I'm not looking at what I'm shooting at. Okay.
I can see it.
So this is blank. And then here's my admin meeting. I had this, I got all that. Now let's go to tomorrow. This is all set up. These are all calls from clients who I'm keeping in contact with. So here's one, this client here. Let me show you what this says. We've already got the paperwork in-house, and I need to call to set up photography.
So what are you showing? What are you showing here? That this long-term nurture, or?
So well, this goes back. This one is not that long-term. This came in originally as an email. I'm not sure what the source is at this point. It might have been just a call, but one of my people put it in here, so I started calling on July 5th, and then July 9th, and then left messages. I didn't want to be too invasive. I added them to Happy Grasshopper for drip campaign for just emails, followed through, and then went out and got the paperwork in-house, and then sent out, went out and we got everything ready. We're just waiting for them to tell us they're ready for photography. Well, it just so happens that they actually texted me earlier today, so I know they're not ready yet. So I'm going to push them to Monday. So notice what I'm doing. I've just taken this. It could be a lead, it could be a contact, it could be somebody that you worked with as a buyer or a seller, and you input the name, the telephone number, and whatever information down here about what you saw, and then you put them on the schedule to call them the next time, which in my case is going to be Monday the 11th. Hit close, and now it's moved it automatically. And I do this with all these clients, and I do this every day, and I do it religiously. And I stress this to my agents. This is the difference between making a money-making business where you're able to track every buyer and every seller, and one where you let things that fall to the ground like it did with me when I first got in the business for the first 2 or 3 or 4 years, until I finally said, what the heck am I doing? I'm doing this wrong. And then it just realized it was right in front of me all the time. I just never used it properly. And now
Yeah,
I do.
getting the people into a software package that manages follow-up dates and contact information, follow up with them, put the schedule updates so you're always calling and following up, and then make sure we're sending out great communication all the time to them in a one-to-many format because you can't talk to everyone all the time.
Right. We
Yep.
export on a regular basis from Happy Grasshopper, which is one of our drip campaigns, up to Frank's People, gets imported into our drip campaigns for video. So that's the workflow. So they become people who we're trying to reach out to, and then we try to engage them with other things like the video. And what that does is people become familiar with your face. Let's face it, if you're watching a TV show for news, one station, there's a reason you go back to that station because you're familiar with the people on that station. For the morning show, maybe it's ABC or NBC or CBS, but you feel comfortable that you know these people, that they become kind of family members, and you get to know the inside jokes. Like, for example, on the Today Show, if Al Roker makes some sort of joke and Savannah and the others are laughing at him, well, you may know the inside story about the background about Al making those types of jokes. It's the same thing when you start sending as you videos to your potential clients, that they get to know you in different circumstances. And that's the difference when you want to build a business and help it explode on steroids, is that people get to know you even before you make that first call. And then all you need to do is when you make that call, oh, Taylor, I just saw your video. I saw you were talking about this new restaurant. And now that's the opening for you to cement the relationship and move forward with it.
And that's how it makes it easier. Then
Yep.
I guess the premise I
That's right.
set this up
Right.
was, you're just making all these calls and nobody knows who you are, but when you start getting yourself on video or using media and constantly get in front of maybe the same list that you're calling, it makes the conversations much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And they know who you are and they treat you better, and they're more likely to convert and do business with you and get the appointments, so on and so forth. Right?
That is exactly right.
Good.
Yeah. You're drawn from A to Z, and that's the workflow to get there.
Let me ask you this question. I stopped asking this question because it's an impossible question to answer. It's like, what's the ROI of all the money and time you spend on video and database marketing? It's just a ridiculous question to ask. So let me ask it maybe in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
When did you switch from everything had to have this very clear, defined return on investment to like, I need to relax that? And when you did, the business grew.
The God's honest truth on this, Frank, is that I don't think we ever stop tracking. But there's a feeling that you get when you see responses like the one I just showed you, that she saw the video that we did. I'll give you another example. I called a client who ended up, they were moving to DC, and they reached out to me because they had just seen, this is going back 3 or 4 years ago. And they reached out to me and they said, hey, we saw your video. We love your travel. We love the stories or stuff that you send us, the marketing. Hey, we're thinking we're going to be moving to Washington. Will you come out and list our home? When you start seeing that over and over again, it no longer becomes a question of does it work? It's the fact that it works. And now how do you fine tune it? We have, in fact, and I love this about Get Viral, you have somebody who calls on my behalf for
Yes.
people who have watched it and ask, are there any questions that you have? Do you want Bob to give you a call regarding something? And he asks a variety of questions.
Yes.
So that's another level, a layer to keeping in contact with them, because even though it's not you personally as the agent giving a touch, someone's calling on behalf of
you. Yes.
Right. And then that helps because I'll get a report back, and then I'll take that. If I see one that says thinking of selling in 2 months, I'll put that on my calendar, schedule it to call them in a month to follow up and say, hey, listen, I know some of my people have been in contact with you. You want to set up something to get together and talk. All of that, I mean, there's no direct, I spent this amount of money and I got this back. But what we do is, and as you move forward, you want to track all the money that you spend everywhere it goes. Just so at the end of the year, you'll see some consistency with spending money in certain areas, and you'll know in your heart when you start seeing emails from, hey, I liked your video, or you get a response back from somebody who, when you just send the video out, hey, I need to know something about this. All of this starts adding into your thoughts about, well, I know I can spend this money here or here, and this shows me better proof of performance, so I'm going to go with it this direction. All of us, and I kid you not 10 minutes before we created this link to do this video, I got a call from somebody, very sweet lady, and I said, listen, I'm on a time deadline. I don't have amount of time. I've got a meeting online. She said, we want to talk to you about engaging with being able to send you seller leads. Now, the very first thing I've learned, if someone says to you in the first sentence, hey, Bob, how you doing? It's a salesperson. They're trying to sell you something. They haven't realized yet you eliminate the how you doing from your conversation, because that's a sheer tip-off that you're a salesperson.
Yeah.
But I've gotten very rude, right? I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
I've got.
Hi, Bob. How are you today? How are you, sir?
I'm fine. And what are you trying to sell me? And what is it going to cost me? You got 10 seconds, go. And they go, well, I can't do it in 10 seconds. I go, goodbye. That was it. Anyway, and I could be passing on something that was really legit, but
Yeah.
one of the things I suggest, and this goes to everybody out there, is that you join masterminds, you go on Facebook groups, and you put the names of things that work out there, so you can vet it before you spend any time listening to somebody pitch you something that could cost you money and yet bring you no return. Yep.
Bob, these are good answers. These are very good answers. I got another question for you. So you obviously have a lot of demands on your time and your attention. Your time is very valuable of all the things that you could be doing in your office, meeting with your staff, prospecting, making calls, following up. But you still somehow are able to slow down and carve out time to make a video. Most people would be like, this is a waste of time. I got more important things to do, like to do my follow-up. But you still carve out the time or the emotional investment or the focus in the middle of the day to be like, no, I'm going to not do that. And I'm going to do this instead. Talk to me about the behavior or the decision-making to do these videos. And it's probably natural to you now, but maybe think back to when it felt like an interruption to your day and it was really challenging to get them done.
The most direct answer is to make the videos part of your day, so you don't have to physically carve out additional time. And when you start to think that way, now the one that over at Lowe's that I was talking about for how to winterize your home, things like that, I'm going to be over at Lowe's anyway, picking something up. I know that. So that's what I'm planning on doing, that video. It doesn't have to be that detailed. It could be when you go to a new restaurant. Who doesn't like to eat? Now, when I did TV in my last 5 or 6 years here in Louisville, I did TV. And one of the things I did was a series on new restaurants opening up, one a week. They got the highest ratings, reviews, because people love to eat. So take this as a guide. Just go to a new restaurant now, and just to tell you the negatives that we just ran into last week. This one group just opened up a new restaurant. We went down there, and I was going to shoot video. Very dark. You could not shoot video in this restaurant and have it acceptable, so I didn't. But a lot of restaurants are a little brighter, and with the phones, cameras that we've got these days, it makes it very simple to go in and do this. And you don't have to be. Here's the structure for a video like that. Hey, everybody, it's Bob, and I just want to let you know, new restaurant. Here we are outside. It's the Frank Klezik's Restaurant of Champions. And then
I like it.
You like it? Go inside, and then you come. So you're taking these, doing little snips, right? It's got a nice atmosphere. His menu prices go between $10 and $1,000 for a meal. Let's take a look at one of the dishes that we ordered tonight. Cut to the next shot. Here's the dish. It's a ham sandwich. See, anybody who knows Frank will know. It's a ham sandwich. And it's got lots of sprouts coming out anywhere. And then
so you're just dude, you just had a very long time to just think this way. And you think in terms
it'll come natural to you.
It's like anything else. I mean, they always call it like, entrepreneurial to purposeful. You start with what you're kind of like naturally good at, but you have to get good at things that you're not naturally good at. Yeah. And, what I say at Viral is, you start off with basic communication face-to-face, then you graduate to communication on the phone, then maybe you graduate to communicating in a small group, then you graduate to communicating through print and media. And the reason why you keep graduating is because you get less and less and less feedback from the audience. And when you're writing and you're making a video, you have zero feedback. When you're sitting face-to-face, you're getting all the feedback you'd ever want. And people usually are on some type of scale of how they're able to communicate there. And a lot of times making video, you just have to increase your communication skill to communicate without any feedback.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Looking at a lens,
Yeah. Well, but if you in your mind you've outlined it or put it on a piece of paper the first couple of times, once you've got it in your mind what you need to do, and then you always end it, after you show off the food. So I would say I never by the way, with a food review, never say anything negative about the restaurant. It's always, hey, this is a great place to come out and try for yourself. And by the way, not only do I know about food, I also know about real estate. So if you want more information about buying or selling, here's my name, here's my phone number. You can reach out to me anytime. Bam, done.
Bob, where should someone go if they want to watch your stuff?
So if you want to look at some of the stuff that we do with Frank's stuff, it's WeSellLouisville.tv. That's our blog site. Yep, WeSellLouisville.tv. You can always go to LouisvilleRealEstateVideo.com. On YouTube, that's a redirect to YouTube. Google my name, and you'll see also what I did before I was in real estate. And a word of warning, I was thinner, younger, and I had a whole lot of hair. So just Google my name, who is Bob Sokoler, and you'll have hours of laughter.
Well, Bob, that's plenty for today. So I want to say thank you so much for the time with you. This has been wonderful. It's always a joy. Likewise. And thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
I love you dearly, buddy. You take care. I hope to see you very soon.